and hosted on a YouTube channel. And we've kind of gone over privately a lot of the other benefits to PC. So hopefully today is a good value for you. All right. I want to do a little bit of housekeeping first of all. I want to remind you, I'm probably going to say this a lot over the next couple weeks, and please hear that the number of times I say it is indicative of how important it is. Okay. I would like for you to attend Family Reunion. It is digital. It is going to be, I think right now, if you were to buy the tickets, it's like $109 or $119. What is it?
109.
109. Normally, guys, it's like 800 or 900. Plus, you gotta, get there and stay in a hotel and buy food and yada yada yada. Okay. We are working behind the scenes to get scholarships and vendors to pay for as many tickets as we can. We are taking easily 100 people in this office to Family Reunion, and I want us to have as much as participation as possible. Okay. So as of today, I'm not asking you to register today. I'm asking you to hold the dates. Okay. My job and what I'm going to be working on over the next month is making sure that each and every one of you get there for free. Okay. And maybe we'll end up having some contests or something around listings too. So the 15th through the 18th of February are the dates. Okay. 15th through the 18th of February. Okay. If you register, then you'll have access to the platform, or if you go, you'll have access to the platform for generally around 2 months. So you can go back and watch the videos. So if I have a dentist appointment on the 16th, don't let that stop you from attending overall. Okay.
Great.
This is the website. It is familyreunion.kw.com if you'd like to check that out. Okay. All right. I have a special guest coming.
Sorry, Bill, can you tell me what that is?
Family Reunion is one of our international conventions. So we're going to have leaders from all over the country and really all over the world doing breakout sessions. Gary will do vision speech. They'll have tech updates, all kinds of stuff that will happen. There'll be breakout sessions on just about every type of facet of the business, from lead generation to growth to profit to investment opportunity. Everything that you could possibly imagine would be available at a real estate seminar, this is going to include it. Okay.
Okay. Where is it at?
It's on your computer.
No, I'm saying the location. Oh, it's on the computer.
Yeah, it's all digital. It was supposed to be in Las Vegas this year, and obviously we've moved it to digital. Okay.
Okay.
Okay. Next Wednesday. Actually, let me back up for a second. I hope you guys all know this, but I'm coached as well. So I'm not just preaching that it's important to have a coach and not being coached myself. I actually have 3 coaches. I have Robert Doyle from the Director of Career Development at GLG. Aubrey and I work together, of course, and I'm also coached by a woman named Deb Jolly, who most people would say is the top PC coach in all of MAPS of Keller Williams. Okay, we work together for 30 minutes a week, 4 days or 4 weeks per month, and the office pays $1,250 a month for that. Okay. Wow. So this is a woman that is charging, what would that be? It's like $300 for half an hour. She's $10 a minute.
Wow.
To talk to me. Okay. Now, what's the takeaway there? The takeaway is, number one, the office is making investments in their leaders. The next takeaway is the leaders are receptive to those investments. And number 3 is all the stuff that we talk about is designed to help you build your businesses faster and with less effort. Make sense?
Yes.
Now, she has agreed to spend 1 hour with us next week. Our group, just our group. Okay. That's going to be from 10 o'clock to 11 o'clock.
Wow.
Next Wednesday in this room. So a couple things I'd like to ask of you. Number 1, clear your schedule.
Yeah.
I don't know if Melba would be mad at me for saying this, but I'm going to tell you to skip the class or skip an hour of the class and go back and watch the video later. Okay.
Wow.
Makes sense? Now, I also, we can discuss anything you'd like to discuss. Okay. So I'm sure she has some messages that she wants to share with you as real estate agents growing your business. But we can also touch on some concepts that are applicable to your businesses and your goals. So if you have any thoughts or recommendations on any topics, or you have any suggestions for topics, we will certainly keep those in mind, and you can message me privately and tell me what they are, okay? So that is next Wednesday, the 20th, from 10 o'clock in the morning to 11 o'clock in the morning. By the way, she lives in near San Diego. She is waking up at 7 a.m. to do this for us, okay?
Wow.
Cool.
Awesome.
Okay. Today between 12:30 and 1, we're going to have a session on, it's going to be a listing presentation workshop. Okay. So we're going to talk a little bit about what happens prior to the listing appointment, and then we're going to role play the listing appointment. There's a handful of you that have inquired about coming into the office or asked if they could come into the office. The answer to that is yes. I think I've got 7 people, and I said I could go up to 10. So if you have not said that you would like to come in, please let me know, and I'll let you know if you can have one of the last 3 slots. What I didn't know is that there's an ALC meeting at the same time, or almost the same time. So I'll be working with them to figure out where we sit. But just come on in, we'll figure it out. Okay. That's from 12:30 to 1:30 today. If you're not able to come into the office, or if you're not one of the 10, we'll do it on Zoom as well. Okay. And Rose and Janice, you're obviously more than welcome to join. It's the same link that you used to get into this. Okay.
Thank you.
I am finalizing our Success Series interview. That should be 12 o'clock to 1 o'clock on Friday. And then our Launch Mastermind will be 1 to 1:30 on Friday. Please don't forget that it's literally like 20 seconds of number reporting each week. If you could take a couple of moments, 20 seconds, and put in your numbers once a week, before we get to the point where we say, oh, I can't find it. Oh, I don't know where I put it. Let's put in the reports for January 1st through 10th. Okay. January 1st through 10th. It's in the past. Let's report it. Let's move on. Okay. So far, we're reporting 15 appointments and 4 listings taken, which is pretty good. Okay. But that's a very small percentage of the group so far. So go ahead and put in your numbers. All right. Who wants to share some positive news? Who wants to share some good news? What are we grateful for? Come on, you know this question's coming every day. No surprises here.
Well, Bill, I would like to say I'm grateful that I have a customer interested in leasing a unit.
Okay.
So that would be my first official client, but I do need some assistance on, guiding them.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. First off, great. Look, everyone in town needs a place to live.
Right.
They're either going to rent it or they're going to buy it. And the good news is we can help with both. Okay. So I have probably done more rentals than everyone in the office combined.
Wow.
Okay. By a long shot, I would be willing to bet. Okay. A significant portion of the clients that come to me regularly, I met through a rental interaction.
Okay.
Okay. They were either a renter themselves, or they were a referral from a renter themselves. So don't shy away from that business.
Okay.
Okay. Don't shy away from that business. And I don't know if I'd go and intentionally build my business around renters.
Right.
But don't shy away from people that are respectful and cooperative and that they want help. Okay. They need our help. They need our expertise.
How do I respond to her?
We're going to cover that outside
Later.
of this. Okay.
Okay.
Yeah. Okay, cool. If you go into the YouTube channel, there's a couple of videos on rentals that I've gone into a ton of detail on that, that we've actually done fairly recently. Okay. There's a lot of variables there, but you can certainly help. It's not too hard. And you can have fun doing it and go see some property doing it. Okay.
Okay.
All right. Let's do one more piece of good news, and then we'll move on to handling objections.
I'll
All right, two's cool. Corey, you start.
Hey, so yesterday I was making my calls, and I got this, so it was cold calls, so like hardly anybody was answering. The first lady who answered, she she said, "Oh, well, actually, I'm meeting with an agent tomorrow. We're thinking about putting our house up for sale." I said, "Oh, wow." And we landed where she said, "Well, call me back in a week." Because she had two agents and that she has been talking to. And I'd kind of tried to see if there was a way for me to get in with meeting with her. She's like, just call me back in a week. We'll see where I am. So I waited. I just thought about it and was like, I don't want to let this go. So I ended up calling her back, and, you know, I won't go into all the details, but I have a listing appointment with her on Thursday. So
Right. What she was telling you, Corey, great job. What she was telling you is initially was, I'm just going to meet with this agent, and more than likely I'm probably going to sign with them. But if for some reason they come in with like an axe in their hand, then I'll probably call you. Right. That there's just too much up in the air for that. There's just too much of a chance that agent is not good. Right. And because you're great at what you do, and because you love doing what you do, and because you're educated and you're serious and you're intentional and you're organized, you deserve a shot at that meeting. And you called her and you said just that. And that's what you got. Right.
Yep.
Awesome job. Awesome job. Guys, even if she flatly gets like denied at the appointment, it doesn't matter. She now has the confidence that she can request an appointment when she feels like she deserves one. Is that fair?
Yeah, that was great. Great. My very first listing was a similar where the lady, I talked to a couple, and the ladies, it was a good friend of hers that was going to come and give them, their talk about the listing. And I hung up. They would not budge. And I called back similar, and the husband answered. And come to find out, he really wanted another agent to come in, but he didn't want to say it in front of his wife. So he set up the appointment, and I went as my very first listing, and they were both so on board and nice. Anyway, so don't give up. Sometimes you do have to call back and just be kind and explain that you're there to give them, what's the problem? What's the harm of another,
Right, you do want a second opinion, don't you?
Yeah, exactly.
Right. What if the second opinion could help you net more money? Would that be worth 30 minutes of your time?
Yeah, that's just what I said.
I mean,
Marie
who's going to
told
say
me
no
that.
to that? That's an intelligence question. That's an intelligence test. Who's going to say no to that?
Right.
Because then they'll say, oh my gosh, maybe, I didn't really think of a second opinion, but maybe I should have. Right.
Yep.
Right. You get second opinions for everything. You're going to fix your tires and you get a second opinion. We're talking about a house here, guys.
Yeah.
Right. Create doubt in the owner's mind that the way they're approaching this situation may not be the most strategic.
Yep.
Right. Was it Markia that wanted to say something? Where are you? There you are.
Yes.
Right,
I have a client that I've been working with since last year that we've had conversation that she wants to purchase in January.
Okay.
And the only thing that was holding her up from her pre-approval was just her student loan. So I went ahead and set her up for like auto email on FMLS. And she got so excited. So she went ahead yesterday and called the student loan people and got her a payment plan. And she should have her pre-approval next week. And she's like, she loves 5 homes on the site. Put one as a possibility. So it's just to say that when you set people up on the auto email, it kind of gets them excited to go ahead and get pre-approved because they see the homes that they're missing out on that they really like.
That's a great idea. Actually, Ty and I see the thumb up for Ty. Ty and I were actually talking about that this morning, where she's courting a person that's going to be a seller and then a buyer, and the person is dragging their feet a little bit, right? And one deadline turned into another deadline, and the person's just not taking action as quickly as we expected her to, based on what she basically said was her time frame. So one of the suggestions we made was, let's go find her a property that meets her new homes criteria and say, look, if we do this, if we sell for this, and this is an example of a home that we can buy, right? And then she says, oh my gosh, look, it's got 2 sinks in the master. Oh my gosh, look at this backyard. Oh my gosh, look at the kitchen island, right? And then she goes back into her home and there's one sink in there and her husband's beard whiskers are everywhere. And she's like, let's call Ty. Enough of this. You see what I'm saying? Like people's opinions can change like this. We just have to be the one that they're going to call when their opinions change and their time frames change. You see what I'm saying? They called you because there's something going on in that house that doesn't fit their needs anymore. It's too big, it's too small, they don't like their roommate, right? I live next door to a divorce attorney, and he said he has never been as busy as he is right now. I'm serious.
Yeah.
I'm serious. People are living with people they don't want to live with. They're spending too much time with their spouse, and they don't like it. Okay? So what do? We become the economist of choice and the resource for real estate information when they have questions. So if you're getting married, you're not getting married, you need a bigger house, a smaller house, whatever, I'm here to help you. You see what I'm saying? So like Marquia was saying, we kind of sprinkle in a little bit of the possibility. Hey, you want to live in a home like this? You can afford it. Let's get started. Make sense?
Yep.
All right, I'm not trying to be insensitive. I'm just telling you the truth. People are looking to move. They're all, they're hanging out in their house, and they're like, oh my gosh, this house is too big. I can't clean it anymore. Or they're like, oh my gosh, I don't want my kids to share a room anymore. It's not a great lifestyle. Let's move. See what I'm saying? Where did I read this statistic recently? It said that within 1 year of families having a baby, it's like almost 40% of families that have a baby will move within the year of having the baby.
I'm sure. Yep.
So who of your friends is coupling up? Who of your friends is having a baby? Who of your friends' children are having babies or coupling up? These are people we need to be in relationships with. Make sense? I don't care if you buy 20 years from now. I want you to know that today I'm ready to answer your questions. I just got a call from somebody who I placed in a less than $800 rental 13 years ago. Just messaged me on LinkedIn saying they're ready to buy finally. Okay. In the last 13 years, we've probably talked 50 times, and I've earned a grand total of around $150 from that experience so far. Okay. It's not about the money, guys. It's about the relationships.
Yep.
If you have the relationships, you'll have so much money, you don't even know what to do with it. Make sense?
Yep.
Great job, Marquia. Great job. All right. Let's talk about objections for a second. It's kind of a nice transition, okay? I want you to understand that objections are just simply a question in the mind of the consumer. If they didn't want to work with you based on your conversation, they wouldn't even bother asking you questions. Okay, they would just be like, okay, well, it's great to meet you. I'll be in touch, which means get out of my house and I'm never going to call you. Okay. If they're asking you questions, if they seem to be objecting to things, it's because they're considering hiring you. And they're just trying to make sure that a couple of loose ends are addressed before they officially ask for the relationship. Y'all understand that? Okay, so don't confuse objections with conditions. A condition is a statement of fact that you can't do anything about. Let me give you an example. We can't move now because the divorce decree is not finalized. It won't be finalized until May. Okay, can't change that. Then no script or objection handler is going to fix that. Okay, we can't move because our daughter is finishing up high school and we can't move in the middle of that. Okay, I can't I can't convince them to change their mind on that. That's a condition. What I need to do is be a resource for them from that moment forward. So when that condition is no longer in place, it's time to get started. Okay. Now an objection would be, I don't know if it's a good time to buy. Right? Well, truthfully, I don't know either. So let me ask you a couple of other questions and help you understand whether this is going to be a good time for you. Right? Affordability has never been higher, meaning if you've never been able to have as much purchasing power, with the interest rates that we have today. Interest rates have never been this low, okay? However, in order for you to successfully buy a property, you're gonna have to compete with a lot of people. Almost 40% of properties are selling at list price or above list price. So Joe, if I were able to find you exactly what you're looking for, and you end up having to pay list price or more than list price and compete with 50 other offers to get it, how are you going to feel about that experience? Now, I'm not suggesting you're not going to have a protected contract. I'm not suggesting you're going to overpay for the home. I'm just asking you how you're going to feel about the opportunity. My job is to make sure you're protected contractually and to make sure we can get a home inspection and you can do all your research and all of that. But if you end up having to pay over list price to get it, would you be satisfied with this experience? And they say, no, I'm definitely not. I'm not paying over 85% of list price. Say, well, I'll call you in about 10 years then, right? However, if you want to be successful in this environment, here's what you got to deal with. What do you think about that? Right? It's not arrogant. You're taking the pulse of your client. Okay. So there's differences between conditions and objections. I want to start off by saying that. Okay. Now, one other thing that I want to make sure that you guys are aware of is a close is what happens immediately prior to the objection, right? So a close, hey, are you ready to get started, right? Let's get the home on the market together today, right? Let's go look at some property, right? When should we meet? These kind of things are the natural conclusion to a good conversation, a good needs analysis, a good presentation, etc. So don't think that like you're not, you shouldn't be trying to close them. Okay. If you want to work with them and you've enjoyed being in their presence and they seem to be cooperative and friendly and they're not a bigot and they're not crazy, then close them. Say, hey, I think you're the kind of person who I'd really enjoy working with. When can we get started? Right? Now, so don't be too scared about the close. The worst they could say is, hey, you seem nice, but we're not ready to get started. Wonderful. There's a lot of information out there and a lot of misinformation out there. I just want to be the one you call when you have questions. Is that fair? And like, Bill, you're really aggressive. Say, look, you're hiring me to protect your biggest asset. Aren't you looking for an aggressive realtor? Right? There's a lot of ways you can get around that. Okay. When your presentation is going strong, you'll get very few objections. Okay. So practice your presentation so your professionalism is showcased and builds confidence in your ability to help the client meet the goal. Okay. If you continue to get the same objection over and over, you need to plan your conversation to tackle that up front. So if your presentation you keep getting the commission objection, you need to, what's happening is you're not communicating enough value. Okay. If you were communicating enough value, you wouldn't get it, or you wouldn't get it as much. And you may want to incorporate that into your presentation. Okay. Now, over the last 2 days, we went through the qualification kind of questionnaires, if you will, the pre-qualification questions for both buyers and sellers. And at the root of those conversations was, what is your motivation, right? What is causing you to want to buy? What is causing you to want to sell? What is your time frame? And why is that stuff important to you, right? So if somebody says, oh, I want to get my kid into another school district, you might want to ask another question so you can bring out a little bit of emotion in that decision, right? So tell me, why is there anything that's particularly important about that school district or that particular school? And they'll say, oh yeah, the class sizes are, smaller, and the ratings are better. Gosh, that sounds really important to you. I can understand how important that is. Okay, that's going to be my mission, is to get you and your family and your kids into that school district as soon as we can. Does that sound good? No one's ever said that to them. Okay, most people aren't asking the 1 or 2 levels deeper of why is that important to you, right? Gosh, can you see your kids playing on this, community playground or swimming in that pool in your backyard or whatever, right? It's getting them in the mindset of being in that situation in the future that they want to be in. And not only is that happening, but they're associating it with you. Okay. This is all the psychology involved in helping people get what they want, right? Again, we're not trying to get them to buy a home they don't want or sell a home they don't want to sell. We're trying to get them where they asked to be, but you got to know where they asked to be and why that's important to them, right? Remember Simon Sinek? He says that people don't buy what you do, they buy why you do it, right? Meaning they want to make decisions. They're oftentimes going to make emotionally based decisions, right? Rather than saying, oh, you're with Keller Williams, you charge 3%. Where do I sign? You see what I'm saying? Remember, logic makes them think and emotions make them act. So you need to use both. Okay. If they're being a little bit logical, you might want to try to get them a little bit more on the emotional side. If they're being very emotional, you might want to try to get them on the more logical side. When you're dealing with a seller, you might need to help them experience this conversation through the minds of a buyer. If you're dealing with a buyer, you might want to help them understand this situation through the eyes of a seller. So let's say the home's listed for $400,000 and I'm the buyer's agent, and I just came back to, let's say Rose, she's my buyer. I say, Rose, I want to let you know I just got off the phone with the listing agent, and as of today, there are 24 other offers. Okay. So according to our research, we believe that 300, or what I'd say 400 is within a reasonable range, right? And I could even see this home selling for, up to 410, 415 or something like that. What do we think is a good place to start? This is our time to give our highest and best offer. You're like, well, I was thinking 350, right? Say, Rose, let me, I appreciate you saying that. However, I'd like to share something with you. Would that be okay? And you say yes. And say, listen, here is 48,000 pieces of evidence that show this home is worth about $400,000. And I've been looking for evidence that says this home, it should be 350, and I haven't found it. And so if you submit an offer for 350 to the seller, and we already know that 400,000 caused 24 other people to take action, what do you think the likelihood of us winning is? And you would say, it's not that great. I'd say, yeah, I completely agree with you. Now, let me ask you an even more important question. How badly do you want this house, right? Are you willing to allow somebody else to win? And if somebody wins, how are you going to feel about that? And if the answer to that question is nobody's getting this house, it's going to be mine, then we need to give them an offer where they look at your offer and say, whoa, we need to accept this one. And if they don't look at your offer and think that, they're not going to pick you, right? So sometimes we have to take a buyer and help them see the story through the eyes of a seller, or take a seller and help them see the story through the eyes of a buyer. A good example of that would be when you're pricing a home, right? So Cassandra and I were talking about this morning as well, right? So we were talking about pricing a particular piece of property. So that piece of property will be on a list that is likely emailed to a buyer, okay, at some point when that home is listed. Now, the question is what else is on the list, right? It's homes that are roughly in the same area, roughly in the same price range, right? Probably roughly the same age, these kind of things. So when, let's say that home is listed for 250, what else is appealing to the buyer? What else is available to the buyer? And if there's a home that's a better opportunity, right? Maybe it's bigger and a better complex, or, the HOA fees are less, or, it's got more updates or something like that, and it's less money, you're not selling your house until that one's off the market. So if you want to be successful, what would you do? Given the fact, obviously what's going on with your house, where would this home have to be listed at from a condition standpoint, but most importantly, a price standpoint, to stand out on a list like this? and then you give them the opportunity to evaluate it, and you evaluate it, and then you put your heads together. You don't want your seller to pick you because of the price you recommended. You want your seller to pick you because you're a great partner. And then together you will come up with the best strategy to market and sell the property. Because you don't, Michael, if you're the listing agent, like you can't make a $300,000 home sell for 400 because you're a good agent. That just doesn't work. The market is what the market is. It's like saying, who did I talk to about this the other day? Like, if I have a $10 bill, well, let me do it the other way. If I have a $5 bill and I said, Rose, would you like to buy this home? This is a perfect $5 bill. It's never been crinkled. It came just from the bank. You know, it's perfect. And I say, I'd like to sell it to you for $10. You're like, no. So, okay, how about 7? And you're like, are you dumb? Like, I'm not paying more than the market says this thing is worth. I say, I'll sell it to you for $5.50. And you say, did you hear what I just said? But if I offered it for $4.50, there'd be a line out the door. Does that make sense? So the market is what the market is. That has nothing to do with how good the agent is. The agent's job is to partner with the client and take advantage of the factors of the marketplace to secure the best terms. Does that make sense?
That's a really good analogy.
Right. It's like, I mean, I bought a share of GE stock a long time ago for $40 a share. Y'all know what it's worth right now? About 9.
Right.
Okay. Now I sold it for 28 a few years ago, but I still lost money when I sold it for 28. Did I call GE and say, hey, I got this share of stock that I bought for 40. I was wondering if you'd take 40 for it. And they're like, no. The stats say that at the last 50 million shares of stock that have been sold for 28. So you can either sell it to me for 28 or get lost, right? Doesn't really matter what you paid for it. It doesn't matter whether you got a good deal. It doesn't matter if you really need to sell it. It doesn't matter if you just put new knobs on your house. The place is worth what it's worth. I feel like this has been fairly elementary today, but I feel like we've hit on a couple of high points. What do you guys?
Well needed. It's well needed.
Okay. Now,
Absolutely.
let me say one other thing, and this is an important factor because I think I was talking to Michaela about this yesterday. We were working on a comps for another house, and she's dealing with just a super analytical person, right? She's like, well, you know, we added, 16, $1.50 knobs to the cabinet. So how much does that account for an increase in price? It's like, oh my gosh, can't handle you, right? And the fact of the matter is there's no exact number of what the home is worth. Okay, it's worth a different amount to everybody. Okay, that's why it tends to be the value it's in a range. Okay, let me give you another example that kind of piggybacks on what we just talked about, Corey. Let's say I have a guitar. Okay, and the guitar, like the market would say the guitar should sell for $300. Okay. And so a willing seller and a willing buyer should probably exchange the property or the guitar for $300. If I sell the guitar to Michael believes that the guitar is worth more than $300 because he'd rather have the guitar than the money. I actually believe the opposite. I believe the guitar is worth less than $300 because I'd rather have the money than the guitar. Y'all follow that? So just the fact that there's an exchange of a property, of anything of value, shows that there's a difference in opinion of value. So, when somebody says, well, Zillow says it's worth $450. Oh, did Zillow submit an offer? I didn't. Have you reviewed the offer? Would you like me to review it with you? Oh, no. They just have it on their internet. Oh, okay. Well, here's what the other people in the public have been willing to pay. Okay. Well, and you want to do something fun? Why don't we call Zillow and see what they'll actually pay for the property? Okay, so they say it's worth $450, but they'll give you an offer for $375. Does that make sense?
Yep. Perfect.
Okay. So I say all this, guys, is that you have to be able to handle the ebb and flow of logic. And logic is, numbers and markets and trends and stats and all that, with emotions, right? Let's think about this from another standpoint. Why is that stuff important to you? And there's some people that make very much logic-based decisions, and there's some people that make very much emotional-based decisions. The toughest part is they're often married to each other, right? And so you very well could be sitting in front of two spouses that are completely different, right? And so you have to be able to play in both of their worlds. You have to be able to build rapport with both of them, oftentimes simultaneously. That's why you have to ask the questions of, how do I win with you? How do I lose with you? What's most important to you about this process? Why? What's next most important to you about this process? Why? How would you like to be communicated with? Tell me about your positive experiences with agents in the past. Tell me a little bit about your negative experiences with agents in the past. Oh, well, my last agent didn't call me but once a week. Oh, okay, I get that. So in order for you to feel like I am nailing communication, what would you expect? Well, I want to call on the hour, every day until this home sells. Thank you very much. Nice knowing you. Oh, well, I just like 2 calls a week. Okay, I can do that. 2 calls a week, no problem. You see what I'm saying? I know this is probably one of the most controversial things I've said in a while, but you're essentially interviewing these people to determine how crazy they are. Okay, we are all a little crazy. Okay, the question is how crazy are you? Because
Right.
I'm about to leave my family to go hang out with you, and I need to know that you're not too crazy. You see what I'm saying? Does that make sense? I
Yeah.
see some smiles and I see some black squares. Am I pissing anyone off? Looks like
No,
my
that was
two
good,
guests are
Bill.
still
That was
here.
good. That was a good one. I like that.
Okay. I mean, that's the truth, right? But we also have to understand that, we're dealing with people in a very stressful time in their life, right? This is one of the most stressful times that they're going to have moving. And so our job is to be the calming force in the transaction. If you make a big deal about it, it will become a big deal. If you don't make a big deal about it, you'll just resolve it after asking them questions about how they want it resolved. Make sense?
Yeah.
All right, guys. Thank you. Thank you for your time today. Rose and Janice, I appreciate you being here. And I hope this was helpful to you guys. And I will see you at 12:30.
Hey, wait, Bill.
Oh, yeah. Did you have a question?
Thanks.
No question, but just for anybody in the group who,
Oh, yeah. Please, I thank you for reminding me. Are you about to talk about the book club?
yeah,
Please do.
I just wanted to invite anybody who knows about it or who doesn't know about it. We have a book study group, and right now we're studying Atomic Habits by James Clear. And it's just a good way, even if you haven't read it, that's fine. You can just sit in and learn from everybody who's in it. And it's Wednesday nights at 7 p.m. for 1 hour via Zoom. If you're interested, let me know and I'll add you to our WhatsApp group chat, and you can get the Zoom details and join. So initially I made kind of a requirement to, contribute to the conversation and to help lead one of the studies or one of the groups, chats. But, in the spirit of trying to make the information available to everybody, come one, come all. Everybody's welcome.
Yeah, even if
Thank
you
you.
have not
Thank
read,
you.
even if you haven't read the book or finished the book or listened to the book, I think Corey would agree. Please come. There's almost a certainty you're going to hear something that you've not heard before. And even though I will be there, it's not like friending your mom on Facebook. I won't be the productivity coach. I'll just be the colleague. Okay.
No, not at all. It's helpful. If you have time, I know it can be a tricky time, 7 p.m., but for those of you who can do it, join.
Perfect.
Thank
Just,
you.
Yeah, just
All
send
right,
me
guys.
a chat via WhatsApp. Okay.
Thanks, Corey.
Yeah.
Beautiful.
Hey, Bill, is there anything we need to bring with us to the office at 12:30?
No, just some notes. We're gonna record it, so you can go back later on and watch it. And appreciate you asking that, but no, nothing unusual.
So we don't need our laptop.
Oh, yeah, that would probably be helpful. I'm sorry, I probably assumed that. Yeah, bring your laptop.
Okay.
Okay.
Cool.
All right, beautiful. You guys have a great day. Thank you so much. Thanks for joining us,
Thanks.
guys.
Bye-bye.